Okay, all right. So, this is more of a market review more than a recap. Um, Today didn't take this trade. I wouldn't even say it's necessarily a missed trade because I wasn't really planning on taking something after what happened yesterday, right? But I do want to kind of review yesterday's PA a little bit and review the thought processes behind what I was thinking at the time and then go on to what was happening today. All right. So let's look at price here, right? The first trade was a loss, and it is a valid loss, right? There's nothing I could have done differently based off of my strategy, the way in which I trade, my model, that would have changed the outcome of this particular trade. So, first things first, I just have to chalk that up as a loss, right? And it is what it is. I'm not a. Now, looking back on it, after I had some time to kind of cool myself down from my work um, kind of fiasco yesterday, and think about what happened, yesterday evening. I was able to look at the chart a little bit and kind of go back through it and see what I saw, right? See what I saw. Like, that makes sense. See where I went wrong and what I could have done better. I think yesterday was so emotional for me, in the morning especially, um, that I shouldn't have traded at all, right? I don't think I was in the right headspace to trade. And even, to be honest, this morning a little bit, I wasn't quite in the right headspace to trade. Um, Tomorrow, I think I will be in the right headspace to trade because I've calmed down a lot today, um, through the day, and I'm seeing um, differences. So let's kind of review the trade, all in all, right? So, boom, 9:30, we push on up. What is it that we had? We had these equal highs in here, a whole bunch of liquidity. 3 a.m. Right. So this was a thing high. This was a thing high. London high here, right? Boom. Swept the London high. Came back through the inverse FEG. Short on the open, as we can see here. Wait, whoops. Short on the open. I didn't get the best entry. I got it up here. My stop was over this candle, which is pretty much the first, probably the first candle to interact with it. That might be something I might be able to refine in terms of the first candle to react to the FEG. I might be able to refine that and put it above that particular candle, something like that. Which would have kept me in the trade, believe it or not. But that's something to look at, later down the line. But typically, I wouldn't do that. I would just do it over the the, the ones that have the body in the candle, right? So like this, that's pretty much how I have it. My target were the lows, this lows down here, like that. Boom. So you can see the trade idea, really and truly, there's nothing wrong. I know where I was looking to go from. I know where my target was. The analysis on the front end was very good. Right? No problem there. Right? I think this was a very good trade, all in all. Trade idea, all in all. Where it got dumb and really stupid for me, well, two places. Understanding where the draw is, understanding where price wants to get to, all the way down here, right? Let me actually just mark it out, just so we can talk about it. All right. Understanding we want to get down here. Understanding we're delivering from a high liquidity area, which is a London high. Something I was looking at prior, have stopped looking at since, is the use of order blocks, right? We clearly have this order block, and I saw this get printed. I was like, oh, this is a good trade. Maybe this order block, I'll take this order block on down. But no. I decided, you know what, I'm going to take this tiny, 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 tiny inverse in here. which is not even a trade I would normally take because look how small it is. Let me try and get this a little bit more accurate. But look how tiny that inverse is. Does not make any sense to take that. In my opinion, absolutely not. That's just dumb. But because I was chasing it, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get in. This is gonna come up. This is gonna take us out. We're gonna go higher. I was like, really sure it makes no sense. Especially once this started pushing down, I was already like, oh yeah, we have the inverse here. Inverse. We have the order block here. Maybe we can hop in the order block and go short. But I digress. So that trade, all in all, was pretty dumb. Honestly, pretty dumb. Now, again, looking back, after I took that loss, I closed the computer and I was done. Right, so I was out 9:50. I didn't even wait for the 10 o'clock candle to come into play, which is usually my bread and butter. Like those first 10 to 15 minutes of the 10 o'clock candle. Ooh, I love those, boy. I didn't even let that happen, right? I was so preoccupied with trying to get in, trying to make the money. And it was really an emotional breakdown for me. I wasn't logically thinking. So let's kind of move on, right? Look at what happens. 10:01. 10:01, baby. Which is the bread and butter time for me. This would have been a break-even trade, but it would have been a good trade to take nonetheless. We have the sweep of liquidity. Down here, the lows. Monday lows. Those would have been swept. We had an FE, an inverse. Boom, inverse gets taken. We're able to now hop in this inverse. For these are the candles that I really love. Why? Because I can just go boom and cover the full candle. Usually I do about the wick. And where am I targeting? Right? I have my first level here, which is what do you call it? My break-even level. Once we pass that, we go break-even, as you can see. This order block is now mitigated. This is not an order block. So where's left to go? The highs. And that's a pretty decent trade, right? But as you can see, this would have been a break-even trade. And guess what? It is what it is. I'm not upset about it. But the fact that something that is presented almost immediately would have been a great indication for a potential trade again, right? And this trade is really and truly about an A setup. This is a very, very good trade. To be honest, this first trade is also a very, very good trade, just that it didn't quite play out for us. But usually this is about a 95% this kind of happens, and we were able to play off of this and run. Didn't happen, break even, whatever, right? It is what it is. So yeah, I really wanted to go back there and kind of rehash some things that happened yesterday and the emotions behind it, not being able to think logically, and kind of put things together into perspective, especially for review later on in the week and in the months to come. So, I have a record of it and a better understanding of what it is that actually happened and a better understanding of how I can do better. For example, if it is I have a blow up like that at work, don't trade, right? Whatever happens, but you're more than likely not going to make good decisions, right? So, cutting up onto today, let's kind of go to 15-minute. Erase that. 15-minute. All right, 15-minute. All right, so 15-minute is a little bit interesting. That stuff is kind of relevant. So you can see open, right? Open. We push up. We sweep all the liquidity from the 2 days. From Monday. All right, we come lower. What do? We push higher again. We sweep out this liquidity. So London, all right, or 5:15, which is post London, we sweep liquidity. We come lower. We come back up. And on the 5-minute, this is very apparent. This is an order block before we push lower. So immediately I'm thinking, all right, cool, we're going short. Probably for the session. So let's look on the 5 minute. You'll see it a lot cleaner. Boom. So, right. So here's the 5 o'clock. We sweep the liquidity, all this internal liquidity in here. All of that swept, which is pretty much 8 p.m. Where's 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. Which is, you just barely sweep Asian liquidity. Alright. Push lower, come back up. We sweep this high. As you can see here. Just kind of make this a little bigger. We sweep this high like so. Alright. We sweep this high. We create a new order block. And this is where we start our move from. This happens at 9:25, 8:30. Sorry, 8:30 is the start of the move down for the rest of the session. 9:30 comes back. We come up. We sweep this internal high, and then we are off to the races. The 1 minute. Oops. You can see that as well, right? So 1 minute. Internal liquidity, we push higher, we sweep it. 9:30 immediately we just start tanking. After we tap into the order block. Alright, so 5 minute order block, push lower, come back, tap into the 5 minute order block, and we immediately run off. Alright, cool. So coming into the day, bias is bearish. Now, this is the first time I'm really reviewing the trade, per se. So, today, what do we have? Right, what is it that we're looking at that makes sense? So, we have this massive dump off. Price comes back up, creates a form of a free balance of the move down, and we explode again, right? I was looking at this candle to get in, 944. Unfortunately, we had already taken out our break-even point, and my stop would have been massive, so it didn't make any sense. I was like, all right, cool. That doesn't make any sense. And I don't really want to take a bad trade, especially knowing yesterday that I took a poor trade that didn't make any sense. So I always have my criteria for my trades, which is, again, another reason why I didn't trade today, which is, one, there needs to be some form of a sweep of liquidity. Technically, we did get that, which is 9:30. However, we had already taken sell side. So these lows in here, we'd already taken those. And we had already taken another low somewhere about. So I wanted to take some form of buy side before we look to go short again. Just kind of an extra confluence, one could say. So we push lower, we come back up. I saw we had this inverse here. I was like, ooh, that looks kind of interesting, but does it really make sense for me to hop in that? Especially since there's been no liquidity taken? No, so I didn't do it. We come push higher, we create this inverse. At the time, I was like, all right, cool. I'd really like for us to come and sweep this high. We sweep this high. That's a pretty good indication to me that we want to go short. And as you can see, that did not happen. However, what did happen was we had this inverse, price came down. I was actually thinking about hopping in here, and covering the candle like that. And I was looking at potentially doing that, but I was like, you know what, again, let's really stick to our rules here. There's no liquidity that's been taken. Yes, we do have trend, and yes, we do have an inverse. But in order for me to take a trade, I need 3 minimum of my criteria for a setup, which is manipulation of some form, trend trading, or understanding or having a draw, understanding where price wants to go to, which was bearish, and lastly, an inverse, right? So we had 2 of the 3, no sweep of liquidity. And yeah, so I didn't actually end up hopping in the trade. But if you look on the 2 minute, You don't have the sweep of liquidity, but it is a little bit cleaner in the inverse, right? See, we respected it, and then we have a very clean break here. Very easy target like that, and you can see that this is the order block that we're bouncing off of. We've been really hitting order blocks hard this last like 3 weeks, really. Not very much for the inverse, but this is a valid inverse, just not valid for how I trade because I need that sweep. And yeah, price ticked on down. I can show you where that target is. That target are these lows down here. These 3 equal lows down here. And that was my target. That was my daily target, but as you can see, we just kept running. We just kept running. So, oops. So, yeah. That's my target right there. So, you know, it is what it is. On to tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. If I'd have to say, looking at price right now, I think we continue bearish. I think we come into this area, not necessarily sweep this low, but I do think we come lower into this area, and then from there we'll be able to proceed more than likely higher. Something kind of similar to how we had this drop off, this rally. That's kind of how I'm seeing it, and that's kind of how I'm thinking we're going to go as of right now. But who knows, right? Again, for me, I need some form of liquidity to go short. I really prefer 15-minute liquidity as well as 5-minute liquidity, not necessarily just 1-minute liquidity because that can get a little dicey. But yeah, that's essentially my kind of market review of the past 2 days. In terms of what I was seeing, how I was seeing price, the emotions behind it. So yeah,